A schedule that looks correct can still be wrong, and the reason is usually sitting in a line above the dates that most people skip. At this point, the project has a charter, objectives, and these objectives have been tested, and a stakeholder list with the missing people added. What it does not have is any of the actual work written down. In this part, we build the work breakdown structure, and then we turn that structure into a schedule. Watch what the schedule assumes about working days before you will need to check it. Planning is the phase where the charter becomes something you can work to. The scope is broken down into work. The work is turned into a schedule. The schedule is turned into a budget. And then we record everything that could go wrong with all three of those. There are 5 prompts in this phase. It is the longest phase in the video, and it is the phase where ChatGPT is most useful because this is the part of the job that is genuinely slow to do from an empty page. A work breakdown structure is a list of the work on the project arranged in groups. The question this prompt answers is how you get from a page of scope to a list of work that you can actually give to somebody. 2 instructions in this prompt do most of the work. The first is to give between 4 and 8 top-level work streams. The second is to keep the work packages at a level that could be assigned to one person and estimated. That second instruction is the important one, and it is the one people leave out most of the time. Without it, you receive a tidy hierarchy that does not describe the actual work. Deliver the workshop. That is not a work package because nobody can be given that as a task. Rehearse key activities, transition, and timings. That is a work package because one person can own it and can estimate how long it takes. Then, as we did with stakeholder register, we ask it to identify anything that is likely to be underestimated or forgotten. It returns 8 work streams: project management and governance, workshop design and content, delegate management and communications, logistics, venue and suppliers, budget and commercial control, delivery preparation, workshop delivery, and evaluation and closure. Look at the level of work packages under Workstream 1. Confirm the charter, scope, success criteria, and approvals. Set up the project plan, the action log, the risk log, and the budget tracker. Run the sponsor check-ins and decision points. Each of those is a task that one person can complete. That is the instruction working correctly. Now I want to show you the part of this output that I would keep. Underneath the structure, it lists the work that is likely to be underestimated. Reasonable adjustments and accessibility. Facilitator rehearsal. Printing and delivery lead time. The audiovisual and room setup check. Delegate substitutions. Evaluation design. Closure sign-off. And the invoice and payment process. Facilitator rehearsal is the one I want you to notice. Its reason is that rehearsal is often skipped, but it protects the timing and the quality of the workshop. That task does not appear in a first draft of a plan, and it is exactly the task that makes the first day feel unprepared when you leave it out. The invoice and payment process is the second one to notice. Its reason is that it cannot continue after delivery has finished and delay clean closure. That describes a project which is finished in every practical sense, but which cannot be formally closed. There is a limit here that I want to state clearly. It identified these because they are commonly forgotten on projects of this type. It does not know what your organization specifically tends to forget. You need to add those yourself. On your own project, set the number of work streams to match the shape of the work rather than the size of the budget. And if your organization has a standard work breakdown structure, paste it in and ask ChatGPT to map your scope onto the structure instead of creating its own. We now know what the work is. Next, we need to know how long it takes and in what order it happens. The critical path is the sequence of tasks that determine the finish date of the project. If a task on the critical path is delayed by 1 day, the whole project finishes 1 day later. The question this prompt answers is which of your tasks are on it. The column are the task, what it depends on, the rough duration, the owner, whether it is a milestone, and whether it is on the critical path. Then there is the instruction that matters most in this prompt. Assume a start date of the 1st of September and tell me the realistic finish date and state your working day assumptions. State your working day assumptions. If you ask for that, you receive a date that you can explain and you can defend. If you leave it out, you receive a date with no way of knowing whether it counted weekends or public holidays or whether it assumed that everybody works on everything at the same time. A date with no stated assumptions is a guess presented as a fact. It spent 42 seconds working on this one, and the first thing it gives back is not the table. Read this part before you read the schedule. The dates are for 2026. The working days are Monday to Friday. There is no weekend working, and no public holiday falls inside the schedule window. Then it says this: the realistic finish date is Friday, the 27th of November, and it adds a note. The charter closure date of the 28th of November falls on a Saturday, so the sign-off should be completed by Friday, the 27th. I want you to stop on that because it is the most useful thing ChatGPT did on this entire project. The charter that I approved had a closure date on a Saturday. I wrote that date myself. It went into the charter. I did not notice it, and it would have remained there until closure, when somebody would have tried to arrange a sponsor signature at the weekend. It found that only because I asked it to state its working day assumptions. That instruction is what turned 28th of November into the 28th of November is a Saturday. Then we have the table, and the column to read is the last one, which says whether the task is on the critical path. Confirm the charter. Yes. Set up the plan and the trackers. No. Confirm the learning outcomes. Yes. Receive the delegate list. No. That last one is worth questioning, and I'll return to it. Further down the output, it says that delegate confirmations are not on the main critical path, but that they are critical to the attendance target. Both of those statements are correct. What it means is that the task can slip without moving the finish date, and you can still fail on one of the project success criteria. The critical path tells you about the date. It does not tell you whether the project is any good. At the bottom, it gives the chain itself. Task 1, then 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That is 16 tasks out of 24. On those 16, a day lost is a day added to the end of the project. On your own project, if you have a real constraint on people's availability, say so in the prompt. This schedule assumes that everybody is available at the moment the dependency allows them to start, and that is rarely true. We know the work and we know the order. Next, we find out what it costs.